watching Rogers TV.
Welcome to this edition of Dufferin Life. I'm your host, Teena Avery. Thank you so much for joining me. Did you like that? I kind of sang that off-key, pitch, whatever. Like I'm not a singer. One of the amazing organizations in this community is Orangeville Music Theatre. Joining me today, we have Jamie and Carrie Lynn. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
It's truly my pleasure. So I'm going to start because there's so many things that happen with OMT, and I want to make sure we talk about that. But first, I would love for you to introduce yourselves and tell us what you do for the organization.
My name is Jamie Conley. I have been with Orangeville Music Theatre for the last 6 years. I started with my son being in theatre, then became a volunteer parent, and then now I'm on the board of directors and the executive. I'm the treasurer.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah. And how about you, Carrie Lynn?
It's Carrie Ann.
Carrie Ann. Did I say Carrie Lynn? Well, so...
I'm sorry.
No, it's me. It's Carrie Ann. And I was just seeing if she was paying attention. Were you paying attention? Anyways, please tell us what you do.
So right now I am a director at large. I've only been involved with Orangeville Music Theatre for about a year, but just like Jamie, my son started as a performer with OMT and we had such an amazing positive experience. We just needed to be more involved.
Okay. Well, that's amazing. And that says a lot about the organization. And I think that happens with a lot of amazing organizations in our community that, you know, you get involved as a parent. I mean, I did it. My boys played rep basketball. And then I was like, then they found out I was an event planner. And then I was like doing tickets and planning events and, you know, doing all those sorts of things. But when you're part of an organization like that, you kind of become a family.
That's right.
And, you know, the kids get together. They work together all the time. And then the parents get together. And then you're just like, well, I can help.
Exactly.
Right? Until you have no more time left.
That's right.
That's true.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. So we've got 2 shows coming up in June. So let's start by talking. Why don't you tell me, Jamie, about the first one?
Sure. We have 2 shows. We always have a junior show and an adult show. So our main stage this year is We Will Rock You, okay. Which is a super exciting show. If anybody knows Queen, we have over 20 Queen songs in the show.
Amazing.
And it's a foot stomping, hand rocking show. We have an amazing cast. The cast ranges from ages 14 all the way past 60. So it's a really diverse group that we have going on this year. That's and a third of our cast members are new this year, which is really cool. So we're bringing in other people into OMT family, which is amazing.
Well, and I was going to ask you about that when you said the age range. I'm like, how, you know, and what, so do people need experience in order?
Not at all.
No?
You just come out. We host auditions twice a year. We do 2 adult shows every year. They come out, they audition, and join the family. That's pretty much it.
And does everybody, I mean, obviously it's musical theater,
yes.
So everybody would, you know, have an interest in singing. So this is why I'm not being invited, because apparently I can't.
That's why they keep me backstage most times. I don't sing either.
Yes.
Yes, if you like singing, you don't have to be a great singer. We are a community organization. We encourage everybody in the community to come out and try, and we host our auditions. And you know, fingers crossed that you get into the show. And we've been doing rehearsals since March, and the show starts in June. So it's fun. It's a really great experience for everybody.
So when you're, I guess I'm assuming as an organization you pick the shows moving?
Yes, we do.
How do you choose something like that? Like
we have a board.
Okay.
So the board puts forth some shows that we think that the community would be interested in, as well as the actors. And then we have to apply for them and wait for rights.
Right.
So there is a large process going forward, depending on what other shows or other theater companies in the area are doing. They get kind of pick and choose what we get to do, and that's how we choose them.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about show number 2 that's happening.
So the second show we're doing is High School Musical Junior, and it is an iconic film. I think it's on the second generation of kids that have grown up watching it. It is a really fun romance that takes place primarily in a high school, and you have your 2 leads, and they fall in love, and how everybody gets together to support them and, you know, just be teenagers and have a lot of fun.
So what ages are in this particular show?
So the age group is actually from ages 10 to, I believe they go up to 16 in this performance.
In that one, yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. So let's talk about working with, I'm intrigued about the age group. So let's talk about working with such a big age group, like, and what's that like when you're
It's
directing?
great.
Yeah.
It's the best part is watching them interact with each other and support each other. So the nice thing I love about theater is that it's very encompassing and supporting everybody. And you really see that when you get the large age group. You see the teenagers talking to the older adults and playing around with them and hanging out with them. And it's really fun to see the camaraderie with the cast.
And I think what's really important, what I've talked about with different organizations that do theater, especially when you're working with kids, though there are those kids that could be watching, or parents could be watching, that have young budding singers that are so nervous or kind of don't feel like a part of something. And when you have an organization like yours, it helps them build self-esteem. It creates that family that you were talking about. And I think it does wonders. So if you're watching and you've never, and you would like to sing, I love to sing, I know I can't. But if you do, that you need to definitely check out the website and find out when auditions are and how you could be a part of it, because I think that's extremely
great.
unique.
It's wonderful for the kids. It builds their confidence and just a feeling of belonging somewhere. They accept everybody, which is wonderful. It's wonderful to watch.
And they go through an audition process, which is very similar to, you know, well, there's audition processes for all live theater like
jobs,
professional
everything.
theater. Yeah,
That's right. Yeah, so it kind of sets you up for what they walk into a room, you've got a panel there, they're going to sing, they're going to do a little monologue most times, and go through that auditioning process. So
is there choreography involved?
absolutely.
I was going to say, come on, there's got to be. So now this is where I shine. I used to teach dance many years ago.
Perfect.
Yes, I'm like, this is where I would be like, okay, as long as I can only mouth the words, right?
That's right.
So what is the biggest challenge for you when you're putting on a show? How many people normally are in the show, and how
So we usually have around 25 people.
Okay.
And most times we're getting nowadays about 60 auditioning. So the most challenging thing is for the teams to pick the cast members, because we always hate to turn people down. So we've also developed a workshop for some of the kids that don't get in. If they're just not quite ready for the show yet, then we do have a workshop as well that we've also started in Kathy Broom's name. And it's fantastic. Yeah.
Kathy was a wonderful lady, so very well missed in the community for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call you Carrie Lynn.
That's okay. I've answered to worse.
I'm just looking at her. She's like waiting for me to say the name wrong. But no. So tell me a little bit about what it's like being a parent and having your child on stage, and what does that feel like when you first started?
Right from start to finish, OMT just made it such a comfortable experience, and they really do practice inclusion. Getting to watch your child up on stage doing something that they love with a group of people that become an extension of their family is really just the most heartwarming thing that you will ever experience. And I'm not gonna lie, every single performance I openly cried. I was so proud of not only just my son, but the artistic team and everybody that was putting their hearts on the stage.
There's something about watching anything on stage, be it professional theater, community theater, whatever it happens to be, that just brings a joy to the people that are watching. And music, that plus music, I mean, it just uplifts your soul. So you can't help but walk out of a show and just feel uplifted, no matter what show you see.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we have to talk about something really important, like when is the show and where is the show? We want to make sure we get that on.
Yes. Both shows are at the Orangeville Opera House, and
High School Musical
goes first.
Yeah, so we are right after Blues and Jazz Festival weekend. We are June 7th through 9th.
Okay.
So there's an evening show on the Friday, 2 shows on the Saturday, a matinee and an evening show, and then a matinee on the Sunday.
Amazing. So that's a lot of performing. These kids must be zonked by the time they're done, just ready for bed.
And parents too.
And parents, yeah. Well, I also heard that you run around and help backstage and do many different things.
I try to be as involved as I possibly can, yes. And getting to watch the kids backstage, you get a whole new perspective because you are not allowed to be out there with them, and just letting your child go and put everything on the line is nerve-wracking for a parent, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And show number 2.
Show number 2, we are June 14th to the 22nd, so we run for 2 weekends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So we need to talk about where people can get tickets.
Yes.
Is that on your website?
It is on our website, so orangevillemusictheatre.com, or at the Orangeville Opera House box office as well, as where you can get tickets.
That must be, especially for the new people, just being on that stage must be so amazing. That amazing feeling that you get when you step out on stage for the very first time. Do you do things like cue to cue? Like, do you run everything?
Yeah, we have a tech week before the show start. It's a very short tech week for us because we have to move into the theater. It's not our space. So we build all of our sets outside of the space, move it all in one day, then start our cue to cues, our lighting, and be ready to go for the kids show. Does a show on Thursday
For schools.
for the schools.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, that's really wonderful. So let's talk about building the sets. So
Yes.
do you have volunteers that build the sets for you?
Usually the directors.
Okay.
Everything's
Well done, ladies. Well done. Yeah.
Everything's volunteer based.
Okay.
So yes, most of us get involved and help out with the props, the sets. Costumes is somebody entirely different, and they do the costumes for us. But yeah,
That's amazing. So if somebody wanted to get involved with OMT,
they can just head to our website and contact at the back page, and there's some emails there if they ever want to get involved or have questions or want to get their children involved. Email any of us and we'll answer their questions.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So make sure you are getting your tickets. We're not going just yet, but I just want to make sure that you're getting your tickets. And let's say, for instance, you don't have the ability to go to the shows. Please help spread the word. I think what we do on the show is, for some of our guests, is we create awareness. And sometimes not everyone can support or be there, or they're away, or whatever it happens to be. But spread the word.
Yes.
Like, isn't that not the most important thing?
Yeah. Yeah, spread the word.
So we're looking for full houses, yes?
We are looking for full houses, always.
That's wonderful. So how long have you been doing this?
So this is only my second show that I've ever directed.
Okay.
But I've been with OMT for about 6 or 7 years now.
So what's it
on the
like
board.
directing? It's got it.
Nerve-wracking. It's a whole new experience. I started backstage, then I did some stage managing. I've done a directing of a child show, and then now I'm doing the main stage. So,
Well, good for
yeah,
you.
thank
That's
you.
absolutely awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of
So
fun.
if we have, I don't know, we're going to say about a minute and a half
Yes.
left. Let's tell people, why is it important for them to come?
It's important to support our local community theaters, to support those kids. If people don't come and fill the seats, we can't put the shows on for the kids. And the kids love to perform for their friends and family, so it's really important to fill those chairs.
So tell me, why is OMT important to the community?
OMT is important to the community because it practices inclusion. In a small town of Orangeville, we have a powerhouse of theater programs that are happening here. And we have a Dufferin Film Fest that's coming in, but OMT really has been around since the
Over 50 years.
Over 50 years. And it is a staple in the community, and we've been community driven for that long. And it just gives these children and adults an opportunity to go out and display their art when other people might not travel to, Toronto or the bigger cities to see live theater.
Absolutely. So you heard it here. You need to get your tickets for both those shows coming up in June. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
And thank you. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
It's been a long time coming.
You don't win
it to keep it, you win it to be a part of its history. Always hard to see the difference between winning and losing.
The quest for the hardest trophy to win in sports.
What kind of show do you want to see on Rogers TV? What interests you? Log on to rogerstv.com, fill out a show proposal, and tell us about your segment idea. We want to know what you want to see. Rogers TV, only on Rogers.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. If you're just joining us, well, it's a wonderful time to join in and see what we've got to talk about today. Joining me today, we have Michelle Fisher. She's the Executive Director of Dufferin Community Foundation. Wow, I am definitely tongue-tied today. I so apologize. This is Michelle Fisher. She is the Executive Director of Dufferin Community Foundation. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me. It happens all the time. People will say Dufferin County Foundation.
Yeah, and I paused, and then I apologize. Apparently, I need to get more sleep. But you've been on the show before, but it's been quite some time. I think it was during COVID.
Yes, it was during the pandemic. I was on, it was a Zoom call.
Yes. So I'm glad to have you here. So we want to talk about Dufferin Community Foundation, and we want to talk about what it is for those people who may not know.
Well, okay, so interesting that you stumbled on community, because a community foundation is a thing. There are over 200 community foundations across Canada.
Okay.
And about 6 years ago, a group of volunteers thought, we should have one here for Dufferin County. So we like to call it the Forever Fund for Dufferin County. And what we do is when donors give us a gift, we invest it into a permanent charitable fund called an endowment. And then every year we use the annual income, the earnings from that investment, to give grants to local charities.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So let's talk about when it started and how it's grown over the past few years.
Okay, so it started around a kitchen table, I understand, back in 2018. I've been with the foundation since 2021, but we had a really committed, solid group of founding directors who helped create this, from nothing. And in the first years, of course, because you're waiting for investments, first of all, to come, and then secondly, to generate some interest income. So for the first years, there wasn't really anything to give out. There wasn't too much to give out. So they were very entrepreneurial. They went to local business people and asked them if they would donate at first $1,000 and then $2,000 in booster grants, and gave those out to local charities who had projects that could just use a little extra boost. And then, of course, as you know, the pandemic happened. And one of the really beautiful things about having a community foundation situated here in Dufferin County is that through Community Foundations of Canada, we get access to federal funding that we could distribute to local charities to do the work here. So during the pandemic, we distributed more than $100,000 in emergency support funds from the federal government. And last year they had a post-pandemic fund called the Community Services Recovery Fund, and we were able to give out $270,000 to organizations to help them modernize their infrastructure, their systems and processes, which is, when you're in charity land, everybody who gives you money wants to give you money for programs. So things like digitizing your payroll system, all of those unsexy things that are really important don't get done. And so with that money last year, a lot of charities locally were able to get those projects finished.
And that's so important to them. I mean, because they are a charity. So, when they get funds in, they want to put it back out to the community and not necessarily spend those funds on what they're doing themselves, and which I think is, and being able to do that and kind of update everything and just make everything flow smoothly for them.
Yes, and helps build efficiencies for the future.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the grants that you do. Give us a little bit of an idea of how do people apply for the grants, what type of grants, and that. I mean, there's so much I want to ask.
Okay, so a number of the funds that we have are called donor advised funds, and that's when a family who might otherwise have a private family foundation instead comes and sets up a donor advised fund with us. So it's usually how would you term it? It's usually a large fund, that's going to yield a lot of grant money. And the family every year gets together with us and they talk to us about where they would like to see those dollars go.
Okay.
Always local. We're 100% about Dufferin County, so all of our grants are local. So that makes up a large portion of the grants that are going out. We also have some of our own funds. We have an arts and culture fund, for instance, an environment fund, a vision fund for the most urgent human needs, and most recently a refugee resettlement fund. And those funds are continuing to build up. Last year we gave out our first environmental grant, which was really good.
Amazing.
Yeah. And we gave out, I think, $10,000 in arts and culture funding with a focus on diversity through the arts last year.
So important.
Yeah. And the year before, we had a focus on shelter and mental health. And we gave out, I believe that was $13,000 to Dufferin-Caledon and Family Services, Choices Shelter, and a few other organizations. That's really the heart of what we do. It feels very, very good to be able to help provide secure funding for some of the charities in town, because they're responding to so many needs and urgent demands, and there are just never the resources to go around.
I know, and we live in such a phenomenal community where there are so many organizations that want to help as many people as they can, and sometimes they're not able to.
Yes.
So things like this works out for them.
Yes.
In regards to helping them reach more people.
Yeah, you're right. We do live in a phenomenal community. I mean, just the other week I saw somebody post on the Orangeville Food Bank having empty shelves, and then just the outpouring on social media, and everywhere I went I heard people talking about it, how they had to organize a food drive, and I think a taxi company organized folks to come around and pick up food donations and take them to the food bank. We're really so lucky that we live in such a giving, caring community here.
We definitely are. The Orangeville Food Bank is one of the ones that I love to support, just because, as I've said it a million times, it breaks my heart to think of anybody being hungry and not having to put food on their table for themselves or for their family.
Yes.
So I think, and I did see the same post, and it just broke my heart, and I did go out. And I'm always bringing them up, and I'm always trying to remind people that it's not just about Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Easter. People need food, and the amount of people is growing exponentially.
Yes.
The cost of living is so expensive now, and for some people that you wouldn't even imagine need help with food and feeding their families.
Well, and we're happy to say they're going to be receiving a grant from us in 2 weeks.
That is amazing. Yeah.
from the Woodlot Fund.
I'm so glad that you're here, because I don't think, a lot of people may not know about all the amazing work that you're doing in order to help all these organizations. And I love to spread the awareness. And if you haven't heard of the Dufferin Community Foundation, I stress that you look them up on the website. Let's talk about people donating. Is it always large funds? Can people donate smaller? How does it work?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every donation counts. So if people want to go to our website, which is dufferincommunityfoundation.ca, there's a section called Giving, and it has a list of all of our funds.
Okay.
And they can give, a one-time gift or a monthly gift, whatever they would like, whatever denomination. Every gift counts. And because it goes into a permanent investment, it's like they're giving forever, right?
That would make you feel extra special, I think. Just that way that you...
It keeps building. And so, every year, so for instance, last year we gave out $54,500. This year it's $75,000. Wow. Over $75,000. Next year it's going to be more than that, because the funds are always building, which means everything's continuously going up. The principal doesn't get drained.
Right.
And so that just, it's like an investment fund for our community. Really, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's and do you do bursaries as well?
Yes, so we're starting that this year. This is brand new. The W&M Edelbrock Fund, which sits with Dufferin Community Foundation, they are giving $10,000 this year towards student bursaries. This is a program that's going to grow and grow and grow. So what we're doing this year is just a starting point. But 3 students, one at each of the Dufferin County high schools, is going to receive a bursary, a fairly significant bursary for this area of just over $3,000.
Wow.
So this would be a student who is bright and promising, and either they are good academically or they're really good in one area. So somebody might not be great at school, but they're fabulous at being a chef, or you know, or a trade. They have some skills, something that they really excel at and put themselves into. Anyway, those folks, if they're struggling financially and you know they need a bursary, that's going to make the difference between them going to university or college or trade school. They can apply for this grant through the school. And so this bursary is going to be interesting too, because if they continue to do well in their program, they can reapply every year, and we can give them that bursary to support them through their whole academic program.
That is phenomenal, and I love that it's so inclusive. I love that the fact that it's not everybody who has straight A's, because I think that can, the way that you support everyone, because the chefs, you know, chefs, trade school, whatever it happens to be, they all deserve that opportunity.
Yes.
To go out and excel and go to school and
absolutely.
Be the best
and
they
you
can
hear
be.
so often about people who didn't do very well at school and became very successful in life, or didn't do well generally at school, but they became a brilliant designer. Or a brilliant tradesperson.
Yes, and we are definitely in need of tradespeople.
Yes.
You know, the number of people who are participating or learning the trades and going into them is it needs to rise.
Absolutely, it does.
Because someday we're not going to be able to have our car fixed, or if we don't get the people doing it, or you know, the pipe fitters and the sprinkler systems and all those types of things.
Well, and you know the Edelbrock family locally, they had a booming construction business in the 60s and 70s.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so for them to help support people going into the trades would be very appropriate.
Absolutely. Tell me, how did you get involved with the Dufferin Community Foundation?
That's an interesting question. I became a late in life mom. And I had my first child, and I was looking for a job that would be part-time, something that I could really apply my skills to and sink my teeth into. And this job came up, lo and behold, you know, where they really needed somebody who could be a charitable jack of all trades, because they were just new, so it was just a small number of hours, it wasn't very much money. And it's worked out very well. I love this job. This is the best job I've ever had.
Isn't that the most amazing feeling, loving what you do?
It really is.
Because when you get up in the morning, there is no hesitation. You love what you do, and what you do is so important to the community.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Yes.
I love working with donors and talking to them about the impact that they want to have and figuring out a way to make that happen. And I really love working with the charities and helping them to get the grant money they need. So, you know, this is a beautiful position and a really beautiful foundation.
That's wonderful. Well, congratulations with everything that you're doing, and I can't wait to hear about more. But Michelle, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for joining us. Until next time, bye-bye for now.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.